Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Selfridge live stream. We're going a little different this week. We have an extra show. We're here on a Thursday, but we're very excited to be here. Of course, you know why we're here. We have a very special guest today who has agreed to join us. And before I introduce our very special guest, I want to just say hello to everyone out there in the chat. Thank you for being here. We will try to take some questions from the chat, but I have a number of questions that folks have submitted beforehand that we're gonna bring up here. But maybe if we have time, we'll go to some questions in the chat. So I want to thank Joe and Terry, who are in our chat room helping out with our comment section. And I want to thank Dennis, who is here again on the line in case we need any assistance. But without any further ado, we're going to welcome our special guest today, and I'm sure you've heard of him. He's one of the most amazing YouTubers I've seen out there, making really cool videos, and also an amazing trombone player. So we're going to welcome Christopher Bill. Hello, Christopher. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine, and I'm just going to. I can hear you fine, and I'm just going to let my helpers in the chat just go ahead and shoot me a message if there's any sound issues that need to be adjusted. Go ahead and let me know. But we're going to welcome Christopher. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. I was just telling, and that's really cool. You have us going there in your background.
Yeah,
so
we'll know how big the delay is now.
Exactly. So guys, as you can see, Christopher is there in his really sweet studio. We were talking about it before we started. How cool that studio looks. You got actually, Christopher, maybe as a nice little introduction, can you give us a little introduction to your studio, what you have going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it really is a pretty simple setup. I travel a lot, and so I can't have everything set up all the time, and so I have to have certain equipment on the road with me and stuff. But during the last few weeks, I've just been able to have everything just set up all the time, and so it's been really great having. I have a little mixer board with all my loopers and everything going into that, all my microphones, and routing it all through here. So yeah, I've got a keyboard, I've got a couple loopers. Here, I'll show you one of them. That's accessible.
Oh yeah.
So that's my home base. If I have this and a trombone, and obviously a sound system to plug it into, I can do an hour and a half concert. I don't have to worry about it, and that's a very freeing thing for a solo musician.
And one of your videos we're going to look at, I'm pretty sure you made use of that device right there. We're going to look at your top 5.
Possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. I think that was before I actually invested in. Actually, I know it was, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Because, that video went viral, and then I had to buy that because it was like, oh no, I'm going to have to perform live, because at the time I was using all software.
Oh, okay.
And with that, it gets me away from having to bring a computer on the road with me. I can actually do it all with that pedal. I don't need a computer at all on stage. So that's really great. And then I just have a little interface, Focusrite interface that all my microphones and my mixer plug into. And it's a simple setup, but it works. And I have other MIDI controllers and other fancy stuff if I really need to. But right. For now, yeah, this works just fine.
That's awesome. And I think what we're going to plan to start off with today is we're going to look at your top 5, and I think maybe I gave you a preview of our slideshow, so maybe you know what's coming. But I wonder if do you know off the top of your head what your top video is? By the way, we'll get to it. We'll get to it at number 1. We're going to start with number 5.
Okay, I didn't know I thought I knew what my top one was, and then you sent me that slide, and I went, wait, it's been unseated. So I actually didn't know that the video that is number 1 was number 1 until you sent me that. And I actually don't know by what margin it is. I meant to go look, and I didn't. So I'll leave that as a surprise for myself as well. All
right, so why don't we jump right in to drum roll, please, the top 5 videos of Christopher Bill. So your number 5 most popular video on your channel is Frozen. I don't know if you can see my screen. I don't think you can. It's your I think you quadrupled yourself, and you did Let It Go from the epic epic Frozen. And I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and you're not going to be able to hear it at home. You're not going to be able to hear it where you are, Christopher, but the folks at home are listening to it. And actually, maybe we'll just lower this volume a little bit from our camera, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about this Frozen. How long, do you know approximately how long ago you did that video, the Frozen video?
I think I know exactly when I did it. It was the video after I did the Happy Pharrell Williams one, which is the one that went crazy viral, the first one that I've ever done that hit 1 million views or anything like that. And this was the second video to hit 1 million views.
Okay.
It was the one that was directly after. So that would have been, I'm guessing, February 2014.
Okay.
Or maybe beginning of March, something like that. Yeah. So that was the video after the one that went viral. And so that one, I mean, it's a great video, great arrangement, everything. And of course, Frozen was the biggest thing ever. So all of those things factored in. But really, I don't think it would have hit 1 million views had it not come directly after the video that went viral right before it.
Right. So kind of riding that wave a little bit.
Completely. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to your top video number 4. Do you happen to remember the order, or?
I don't remember.
All right.
I mean, I know of them. There's a lot of the collaboration videos. So.
Well, the number 4 most popular video on your channel is your Bohemian Bohemian Rhapsody. And this
it's only 4?
What's that?
I thought it would be higher.
Well, I can double check. I did the YouTube like ordering your videos thing. Yeah. But now this is one that I think, as you said, it got a ton of attention. Mm-hmm. And this is a really cool video. I'm just going to play this a little bit in the background, maybe just a little bit. I know one of our viewer questions is asking how you put these together, but maybe just a little bit of background of how this one came together.
Yeah, so I've been the International Trombone Festival. Yeah, you're right, number 4. It's close though. It's really close. I bet it'll get number 3 soon. The International Trombone Festival is a great organization, nonprofit that I've been working with their youth workshop for many years. And so when I started going there to do that, there's literally some of these greatest musicians in the world, all in the same place for a week.
Right.
And so the first one I did was in 2016, and it was just this 4 or 5 part funk tune, original tune, with the trombone player from the Letterman Late Show, and a bunch of just crazy great musicians who just happened to be there for the festival, and I asked them to play on something, and I threw this thing together, and people liked it. They liked it a lot, and so the following year I did what the next video is, but This was basically the culmination of many years of building up and getting bigger, more people involved, and basically, people wanted me to do Bohemian Rhapsody for years. Obviously, It's like one of the number 1 most requested songs for anything. But there was another trombone group called Maniacal 4, and they did this beautiful arrangement of it with a whole rhythm section. It was really great, and I'm like, if I did it, it would just be a worse version of that.
Right.
And so I had this idea in the back of my mind for years, but I just didn't have the network. I didn't have, the resources to actually make it happen. And then finally, the Trombone Festival gave me a room for the whole week. Just a room where I could keep my stuff set up and just record whoever I want. So I could go out and onto like the floor where everybody was hanging out and just say, hey, do you want to come here for 15 minutes, record something? They'd come in, I'd point to a piece of the music and say, play that. And they'd play it. And so, over the course of the week, I managed to make it happen. And then, hundreds of hours of editing and all that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I think that's one thing that people don't fully realize is the hours and hours of editing that it takes to do that.
Yeah. Well, for something like that, you have these, again, some of the best musicians in the world are on that. And I could do it in a way where it would be less editing,
right.
you know, like make them play a whole line, start from the beginning so I don't have to line everything up, make sure they get a really, really good take the whole way through. Or I can just have them record 3 or 4 great takes, know that I listen as I go, know that like I have everything I need to now edit it together and make it sound really, really great.
Yeah.
And it takes that basically it makes it a much better experience for them and more editing for me. And I'm okay with that, you know, to have somebody come in for literally 10 minutes and record something. And I know I have what I need, but it's going to be more time later on to make sure that everything sounds and looks great.
Right.
Versus, you know, have 30 or 40 minutes for each person and, you know, be talking to these people like I would in a recording session. Like, no, we need that again. We need that again. You know, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And they're great musicians, so they kind of nail it right off the bat. But it's a different thing. And if I can be working with these people and making it a much lower bar to be included, you know, literally come in for 10 or 15 minutes, then I get more people involved, and it's better because of it. But of course, in the end, it'll be more editing. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a look at top video number 3, which again is another collaboration video, similar. And this, I'm sure do you know which one this is?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Okay, he looked it up. The Don't Stop Believin', another epic tune. So I would imagine the story behind this one is similar.
Yeah, this was the year before. So this is actually kind of what kicked off the Bohemian Rhapsody one. Because the folks who were in the Bohemian Rhapsody one would have seen the Don't Stop Believin' one. And so it was kind of a way for me to kind of prove myself and say, hey, like that video last year that got 1 million views, I'm doing something even bigger and better this year. Don't you want to be included? And so obviously now everybody wants to be a part of something like that.
Right.
So
wow.
This is kind of what started it all. I mean, not started it, but continued.
Yeah. Epic video. And your look has changed a little bit since then. You got the close cropped hair there. But
yeah.
So how many years ago is that?
That was after I had so that would have been 2017 maybe. That
okay.
was after I 2017 maybe. Yeah. And that was after I donated 22 inches of hair.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
We're almost back.
Yeah. Reddit. That's amazing. So that's been a couple of years. Okay, video number 2, which you have seen already, but our viewers might not know what it is. Your number 2 video is this your first viral video?
First, oh yeah, by far.
Yeah. This is the Happy Pharrell Williams, and the folks at home are watching this. Oh, look at this! You're in your crawl space or something.
Yeah, it was my senior year of undergrad, and I was living in an attic.
So you're still in undergrad university there.
Yep, that was February. Yeah, my last semester.
Right. Wow. And where did you attend?
I went to the SUNY Purchase Conservatory of Music in West.
Oh, SUNY Purchase. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, and folks, I see in the chat that we're having a little bit of crackliness on Christopher's vocals, and I'm just playing with a little bit of things, but I'm sure hopefully it will.
Sometimes that happens with having video and audio going at the same time on my end.
All right. It actually doesn't sound too bad to me, but
okay.
I'm sure everyone can.
Oh, here, let me do this.
Okay. Cool. Well, we are going to go. So that Pharrell Williams Happy video is one everyone definitely should check out. That was your breakout video. So we're going to go right ahead to the number 1 video. And was this a surprise to you, Christopher? That this is your number 1?
Everything about this was a surprise. I mean, I knew it was a great arrangement, but it was not supposed to go viral, and it was certainly not supposed to be my number 1 video. It is,
yeah, because I'm watching it and I'm like, well, it's great. Obviously, well, I'm going to reveal here to everyone that it is a massive trombone arrangement, a performance. Whoops, massive trombone performance of the Avengers theme, Avengers Endgame or Portals. But I was watching this too, and I was like, wow, it's pretty cool that this is your top video, because it looks like this is something you pretty much just filmed and posted.
Yeah. completely.
Yeah.
It was for the parents of the people there. Like, so that's a youth workshop. It's all middle school and high school trombonists, and then a couple of the soloists at the beginning,
Right.
professionals. It was just our end of the week. You know, it's the kids' performance. That's it.
Right.
And I put it on YouTube, just like I did the previous year, putting their final performance on YouTube, so the parents could see it. You know,
right.
That was it. But you know, it was the right time and the right place. I mean, I'm barely in it. I'm conducting it, but you don't even know it's me.
Right.
You know?
What was that event, by the way?
That's the International Trombone Festival.
Okay. Okay.
The International Trombone Festival Youth Workshop.
Oh, is that you? I think I think I see you. Oh, the camera angle just changed. But were you back like 30 some rows?
Up in the balcony. Conducting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So. Yeah. So, they're all like all of your top videos are kind of in that same 4 or 5 million range or whatever it is. So they're vying for the top spot. Did you say you thought one of them was going to overtake?
So I didn't know this one overtook until you sent that to me.
Oh, interesting.
Happy up until probably last week or 2 weeks ago. Happy has been my number one since it was posted in 2014.
Yeah.
So. This is news to me. It does. I think Bohemian Rhapsody will probably overtake Don't Stop Believin' if I had to guess. But
right. Yeah, and I'm looking in the chat here, and I see I see some people saying they couldn't hear your videos when I was playing them. Yeah, folks, I am trying to keep Christopher's videos on low volume just so we can hear Christopher speaking over the video. But I encourage you to go to his channel, of course.
Watch the whole thing.
Yeah, go watch and like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 right? Yeah. Hit that notification bell or whatever. But I did put, speaking of that, everybody, I did put all of Christopher's links down below in this description, all of his various links. And Christopher, I'll give you a chance to jump in on that a little bit later as far as where people can find you. I think it'd be cool. Everyone, let's jump into, we got a lot of great questions from viewers. We got questions from subscribers on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, and Twitter. So we're actually going to go to our first question here, and we'll go through these relatively quickly. So Christopher, the first question we have was on my community page from Slim Harambe. So it says, I've watched a few of your videos. Simple question. How long have you been playing trombone for?
Okay. I've been playing trombone, since 5th grade. I think that's when we started in band.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing piano since I was 6 years old. So that was the beginning. My older siblings were all taking piano lessons and stuff. So I went through with music in the house and taking lessons and stuff from a very, very young age.
Piano is very helpful for young musicians.
Yeah, I wasn't good. I didn't take it seriously at 6 years old, but I was doing that before I was even in school, really. So that was good. But then my brother was playing trombone, and I wanted to be like him. So I picked up trombone when I was in 5th grade. I mean, how old is that? 5th grade?
10, 11.
Okay, so something like 16, 17 years.
Okay. All right. Our next question comes from Marissa Avakin. What does he love most about the trombone, and why did he choose to play it?
So I chose to play it because my brother was playing, which is actually it's a funnier story than that. He's actually a baritone euphonium player, but he was playing trombone in the jazz band. And so I was at a jazz band concert when I first saw him play. And I thought, I want to be like him. I'll play that instrument, the instrument he plays. But really, he was just playing trombone just in the jazz band. He wasn't a trombone player, actually. So I chose the instrument because I wanted to be like him, but it ended up being not his main instrument.
All right.
So that was kind of funny. But so that's why I chose it. My favorite thing about it, it's probably that you can... so in music we have all of like the notes, the white and black keys here, right? And there's nothing in between, right? You can't play something here. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Right. So you can't play a note in between these two. They're right next to each other,
right?
You can't play anything in between them. And with trombone, you can play everything because it's a slide. So you can play everything in between. And with a piano, it's not a huge deal because everything's in tune all the time, right? Well, if it's an in-tune piano or a keyboard or something. But with other instruments, specifically brass instruments, there are certain notes that just the physics of sound, they're a little bit out of tune. And so you have to compensate sometimes with your lips, sometimes with your you have to compensate somehow in order to make those notes in tune. And when you do that, you lose some of the tone quality. And so, you might see a tuba player, like a professional tuba player, will literally pull out their slide in order to make this note in tune, because then you can play, the note in tune, but also have this beautiful sound.
Right.
Because if you use those other compensating things, like changing your lips or something, you can make the note in tune, but it starts to sound a little nasally or something like that. And with trombone, we can play every note perfectly in tune and make it sound beautiful because we can just move the slide and play a big tuning slide. So it's got to be my favorite thing. It mimics the human voice in that way, or a fretless instrument where you can play everything beautifully and sound like a great tone and be in tune. It's just very specific to something like a trombone. So that's probably my favorite thing.
Awesome. Our next question came to us from Facebook, and this is Lynette Smith, who is saying, can you ask Christopher, what is the hardest instrument for you to play?
Hardest instrument?
Yeah, and assuming that you play more than one instrument.
Yeah, I guess I would have to say of the instruments that I play, because I would say certainly something like an accordion would be harder for me because I've never tried. So that's probably like up there. So the instruments I've never even tried. Of the instruments that I play, probably guitar is up there for me as difficult. I don't practice it, it's more of a hobby. I just kind of strum along and play chords and stuff. In the brass family, French horn and trumpet, those kind of small mouthpiece stuff is more foreign to me. And then if we get into like my world, alto trombone.
Oh yeah,
here, I've got one right here.
Alto trombone.
Yeah, a little baby trombone. Okay. So it's in the key of E flat. So instead of playing like in a normal trombone, you would play B flat in first position. This is up a fourth and it's E flat in first position. So if you play like the slide positions for a B flat scale, it'll actually be an E flat scale above it. And so learning how to figure that out and, make your lips do the right thing and your arm do the right thing. It's just like learning a trombone that was made wrong or something. So yeah, definitely struggle with that a little bit. But it's still a trombone. So.
Have you seen Wycliffe Gordon's videos where he's playing the soprano trombone?
Oh,
it's basically a slide trumpet, right?
Yeah. So alto trombone is in E flat, and then you go up to soprano, and it's the same range as a trumpet. Yeah, they call it a slide trumpet.
Okay, so it
the same.
Right.
And then there's a piccolo trombone above that. I don't know what that one is. It's probably might be an E flat above that.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah.
We have a question from the YouTube page. This is from M&M West. Why? Okay, this is fairly open-ended.
Okay.
But I assume they're talking about. Let's talk about your YouTube career. So the question is, why did you start doing what you do? So maybe we'll interpret that as, why did you start making YouTube videos?
Yeah. So I was in undergrad studying classical trombone performance at the Purchase Conservatory, and not loving that route for myself. That was a conservatory that was meant to get you into a major orchestra,
right.
Whether that's possible or not, or the jobs are there or not, that's what that was meant to do. And I learned pretty early on that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I was in this program and learning a lot of great fundamentals, but also trying to kind of branch out and figure out what I wanted to do, because it wasn't going to be that. There were other students alongside me that were way better than me for that and way more dedicated at that. So I knew even in my world that I wasn't the best person for those jobs, let alone the entire world. So I really needed to figure that out. And so I was writing these arrangements of popular tunes for trombone quartets. That was kind of like a side job for me, writing for other groups. And before I would sell them, it would make sense to see what they sounded like, right?
Right.
And so I had a bunch of friends in the conservatory would come and play my arrangements so I could listen to them and make changes. But they weren't super dedicated to it, you know, like it was just a fun thing. And this was something I was trying to take a little more seriously. And so I started recording all the parts myself. And that's how this whole thing began, was me recording all the parts myself, mixing them down just so I could hear my arrangement and make changes. And at the end of that process, I would have this recording. And I didn't know what else to do with it, so I just put it on YouTube. There was no video; it was just a picture of me and this recording. So the first one was like Penny Lane, I think, was the first one, and that was the first YouTube video I did on for trombone stuff. Anyway,
all right,
yeah. So it was basically that, and then I started to make my own arrangements and do videos specifically for YouTube. But yeah, that wasn't until later.
All right, interesting. Let's get to someone live on our chat here. This is a good one to give some of our younger players some words of encouragement. This is from Wyatt in grade 7 in Alberta, Canada. I get frustrated in band class because the trombone hardly gets to play the melody. Do you have any advice?
That's another reason I do what I do. Be honest with you, you know, I write all my own arrangements. I write all my own music, and I play, you know, all the parts, obviously, but I write fun music for myself to play because it's true. There isn't a ton of really great stuff in the band, especially at that age.
Yeah.
In that literature, it's not super fun. You're doing a lot of resting. You're doing a lot of playing whole notes and half notes. But luckily, there is music out there. I mean, there's my arrangements for sure, but they're hard. There's like, you can get a beginner. Like, I remember I had one in middle school. It was the music from Harry Potter, you know,
right,
for trombone, and you get the melody the whole time. There's play along tracks. You can play along with it, and so there's really fun music out there. It depends what you're interested in. If you like film music, if you like pop music, but you can play along with all that stuff, and you can play the melody. It might not be in band class yet. And later on, I promise, there are pieces that are really trombone heavy and like have really, really great parts, and it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff, especially in orchestral music. I mean, there are whole pieces where they don't even have trombones.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's even better because then you don't have to waste your time. But there are some. I mean, there was one piece we played where literally we played the last note, and that was it. I'm not even kidding. So they spent the time to include a trombone part just to play the last note, and it's like
okay,
this is ridiculous. You know, what's the point?
But
I mean, even just like conceptually introducing a new color on the last note, it's like what?
Right. But what I think I'm getting from your answer for our friend in Alberta, Canada is stay with it. The parts get more interesting as you get older, and there's also resources they can play with, like these play along videos and books.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's up to you what music you like. And so what music are you already listening to? You can play along with the radio. You can play along with Spotify.
Radio,
yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I did is listen. And obviously, now you listen to the stuff I play now. It's pop music, classic rock, and stuff. It's the stuff I'm already listening to, the stuff I already like to play.
Right.
I just found a way to do it as a career. But you don't have to do it as a career. You could just play along with that stuff. And if you're playing along with these recordings, you are listening for intonation. You have a metronome track because there's drums happening. You know,
right.
You're learning a lot of skills that are really necessary. It's like you're playing with a metronome and a tuner the whole time, and you're learning ear training, trying to figure out the melody and stuff. Like, it's a really, really good thing to do, and you're probably going to be enjoying it a lot more than practicing your half notes, so, which is important too. But
right. Great answers. Let's go back to, this is a question we got off of Instagram, and I wanted to make sure I got this one in here. This is one of my students at the high school where I'm a band director. So special shout out to Zohaib. But this comes from Instagram, Zohaib Faisal. And this is, I'm sure, a very long answer, but maybe we can really sort of just give the basics. The process of setting up those huge collaboration videos, just how do you go about it?
Well, there's two different versions of that. There's the ones I'm doing now, which are all, everybody recording themselves. It's a lot more complicated, right?
Right.
Than what those big collaborations were, which was I'm sitting in a room with all my equipment set up and sheet music that I can point to with my finger, right? And so I can bring somebody in and say, play this. It's going to start 2 bars before that. And they put it on headphones. They wait for 2 bars and they play, right? Much, much, much simpler. My camera's set up. I hit record and we go. All right, let's get another take. And we go, right? That's how that works. And it's a lot of like crazy madman chicken scratching to get to that point, to understand like, okay, we have this pop tune, it's not very long, and we have 48 people that have to have solo parts, right? They have to have solo parts and like have some time to shine.
Yeah.
But they also have to have a background part, right? So they can back up somebody else who's in the lead spot. And also those can't be at the same time. So they can't have a background part at the same time as a solo part, because then they're on the screen twice. And really the background and the solo part should be kind of split up. So you see the person and then you see them again later on, not back to back. So that kind of, and of course you want them to be playing a part that is good for them. So if they're a jazz player, you want it to be like jazz, and so that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So getting to that point is a lot of stuff. And then of course you get to that day and then the person goes, oh, I have to catch a flight home early. Sorry, I can't make it. And then you got to figure out what to do, who else to fit in and that stuff. So that is more logistically crazy, but physically not that bad. Like you just point, here's where you play and go. For the ones I'm doing now, they're all virtual, right? And sometimes I'm doing it with elementary school kids. And so you have to be very, very clear with how you do this. And so for the virtual ensembles, basically I create a backing track that everybody's listening to. It's the full piece that you're going to be singing or playing or whatever it is. And at the beginning, there's a clap. So you hit play and it says, all right, we're going to line up a clap. 1, 2, ready, and clap. And you see it on the video, you hear it on the audio. And so now, and then the piece starts and you sing or play and record your part. But now when you go into the editing process, you just line up the clap for everybody and all the parts line up. And then for the video, the same thing, you line up the clap.
Yeah.
Now it lines up.
That's very helpful. I discovered that at some point in my video creation career, just to kind of do that clap to
just sync up. I mean, it's what they do in movies when you see like the action thing. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's to sync up. I mean, for that, it's to sync up multiple cameras as well.
Right.
So you can line up everything and they all line up. And now they have actual time code on there, so you can get down to milliseconds.
Oh, wow.
It's not just the sound of the clap, it's also there's little lights flashing that you can line up. So we're not doing that technical. We're just saying, all right, everybody clap on one, and it's been working. But there are tricks like that to basically take the editing and make it a lot faster. But it's still very, very, very tedious
it's
work.
a long and people that don't, and I have never come close to doing a collaboration video on the scale that you've done. But I know a lot of teachers are looking into that now with this current situation, and they're finding what an undertaking it is to.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have like 8 or 9 clients right now who I'm just doing video editing and audio editing for them. So I set up the project and they hire me to. I'm not in it, I didn't arrange it, nothing. I'm just the editor at that point, because I have experience doing it. And yeah, it's you also need a really fancy computer to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the other, you're also, you hit roadblocks there when, every single video. So if you want 30 people on screen, or for the one I did, 48 people on screen at the same time, your computer is rendering 48 HD videos at the same time. You need a big computer, or you need to render it down. So, it's not as big, but, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you're really going to run into, because like when I was in college doing it, time is free. You can spend 100 hours on a project,
right? But
you do hit limitations of software and hardware at a certain point, where it's just ridiculous. I mean, you can still do it with workarounds, but yeah, it gets a little crazy.
A lot involved. We got some good live questions coming in. A lot of great questions. Quick, fairly easy one to answer here. Hunter Braun in the chat is asking, did Christopher march DCI or do marching band?
I did. I did. I mean, I was drum major of my my marching band in high school.
Okay.
So that was the beginning. But then also in high school, I went down to the Bayonne Bridgman alumni. Our drum instructor was a member of that, and so he would drive a bunch of us down to Bayonne, New Jersey, and that was my first drum corps experience, which is a crazy one to have your first.
Wow.
But very fun. And then I did some DCA stuff. I did the Brigadiers up in Syracuse, New York. Hopped around. I did a couple camps with Buccaneers and stuff. Never marched DCI, but now I ended up teaching a marching band with a couple drum corps people, and they were like, you should maybe consider getting back into that world. And that was a few years ago. And so since then, I've worked with, in a teaching capacity, with Music City, Nashville, with Phantom Regiment. I did their concert in the park. I was a soloist with them, and then did like a trombone workshop with them. I've been kind of floating around Blue Devils a little bit. They have me come in and like hang out with the kids once in a while. And then this past year, I worked with Santa Clara Vanguard, working with their soloists. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place with that, and it's such a great activity. So yeah, but never marched DCI.
Okay. But you were drum major
of my high school marching band. Yeah.
Okay. I got to see some videos of that. There's got to be a field show out there.
Yeah. It's there's video somewhere.
Okay. All right.
It would have been 2006 or 2007.
Did I see? I don't know if you posted this or I saw it or someone commented. Or are you in that All-State America the Beautiful video? There's like a massive. Where'd you grow up?
Upstate New York.
Were you in All-State?
Yes.
Did you guys do America the Beautiful or like a massive choir orchestra band thing?
I don't remember. I don't think so, but maybe.
All right. Maybe I'm totally misremembering this. I thought I spotted you in like one of those All-State videos, but maybe I'm off base.
Could be.
But you did All-State too. Like, and is that like the same? Like in Pennsylvania, it's like you got to do districts and then regionals and then states. Is that kind of how it worked for you?
Yeah, we had the all county, we called it, and then area All-State was the bigger one, and then All-State. But the All-State audition, if I'm remembering correctly, was its own audition. So
okay.
It didn't have anything to do with those other two. With the more regional ones, we had our own like All-State audition that was specifically for that. So you didn't have to like work up the ranks. It would make sense that if you were in All-State, you would be in the other ones too. But
right.
Yeah, it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was part of our like solo and ensemble. You could do a solo ensemble, adjudication, or you could do solo and ensemble plus the All-State audition. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I think I want to show the folks before we're going to wrap up fairly soon, but I want to show the folks at home your latest video. I thought would be a good opportunity for you to talk about. That's a wonderful picture of you, by the way. I'm looking at the face you're making on the major scale Bootcamp video.
Yeah, all of my lesson courses have very silly pictures.
So I encourage you all to go to Christopher's YouTube channel. The link's down below, Classical Trombone, Christopher Bill. But he's got these great... Tell the folks about your courses that you do on your website.
Yeah, I just started, must be in the fall, doing these. And so, there's like range building courses and music theory courses where I talk about seventh chords and understanding how those work. Well, really all intervals, thirds, triads, and seventh chords. In that course, I have one on key signatures, kind of like a silly way to memorize all those, little acronyms that I came up with and stuff. There's all these different courses that you can take, and you can buy them outright, but really the idea of the whole concept is it's $20 a month and you get access to everything. So all three range building courses, all these other courses, and now the major scale bootcamp course, and all the future courses that I add going forward. So, you know, when I started, $20 a month was not a great deal because there was one course. But as I add them, that right now it's like a 400 something plus dollar value for $20 a month.
And in this video, you do a really cool thing where you play, what is it, all 12?
So it's the like final test for this course specifically. It's major scale boot camp. And so the course, you know, I talk about, really you should be taking the key signature course first, and then you move on to this one. And I talk about some conceptual ways to memorize your scales one at a time. And then there's these backing tracks. There's over 100 backing tracks on there at different tempos. So you can play your scales in whole notes, 1 octave, you know, very slow, and really start to understand these. But again, it's like playing with a tuner and a metronome, because there's all these backing tracks. You're listening for intonation, and there's a drum track, so you have to be in time.
So as you're talking, I'm showing the folks your page here where you have your lessons and all that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So with that one, it takes you through. There's whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, and backing tracks for every single one of those for all 12 scales. Sometimes in 2 octaves if you want to do that, and the arpeggios. And then by the end, there's this final test, which is just kind of a fun little thing that's like, okay, if you can play this, you got it. And it's all 12 scales, all 12 major scales in the circle of fifths, and they go straight one to the next. So it's one long stream of notes from the beginning to the end. You know, it really, I mean, even for me, I got to the middle section where we're playing, you know, B's and F sharps and stuff, and I'm going, oh man, like I can play it when I just play the one scale, but now in the middle of this whole series, it's a little tricky.
Right.
But even that, I have in the full course, I have 3 or 4 different tempos of that, so you can practice it slower and build it up. But that's the final test. That's not supposed to be a learning tool. That's supposed to be a like show offy, like, okay, test myself. Do I know all my scales really, or do I need to go back to the other you know, backing tracks and practice up my F sharp, because I get, you know, stuck on that one every time. So
right.
That's what it is. But for that video, I thought I would play the final test at the fastest tempo just to see if I could do it.
a little self challenge there.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and just as we get ready to wrap up here, I'm going to feature a couple more questions from our live chat, just to thank all the people who have been hanging with us on the live show. So we've got Wyatt, who was our fella in 7th grade who was asking about trombone playing, says, thank you. It's helpful to know if I stay in the band, the pieces will get better.
Oh yeah, they get better.
Let's see. Mike Hamilton, who's one of our viewers who's on here all the time, is a very, very great subscriber. Was wondering if you obviously are familiar with the jazz player Bill Watchers. Have you ever studied or played any of his stuff, or?
I luckily met him at one of the trombone festivals, a couple of them actually. He used to come out all the time. So I met him a couple times, and he was certainly one of my earlier inspirations for playing this kind of like pop style trombone. His is very jazz influenced, obviously.
Yeah.
Incredible player, but there's a couple Bonafide, I think the album's called. There's a couple tracks on there that I kind of always gravitate back to, because it's so melody driven. It just sounds like somebody's singing,
right?
And he's playing trombone.
One of the greats, absolutely. Let's see here. We will do well. Let's at this point. I want to. Is there anything you'd like to share with the folks who are watching as far as where they can follow you? I mean, obviously, I put all your links down below. I mean, you're on all the social media platforms. Anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube's the best place. That's where everybody is. Make sure you do click the bell notification on there, because some folks are not getting the subscriber notifications anymore. So if you want to stay updated with that, I have a Discord server. That's a pretty cool space to actually meet each other, ask questions. I'm in there all the time. So if you want to talk to me, that's the best place to do it. The Discord server there. There's links to that in my descriptions, if they're not here, it's in every description of all my YouTube videos. Instagram at Classical Trombone. I started doing some Twitch live streams if you are into that kind of thing. You'll find me. And by the way, for the teachable lesson courses, if anybody is like strapped for cash or something and you want to check it out, or if there's any educators, just shoot a message on my website on the contact form and let us know, because we're giving out first month free kind of promotional stuff if you really can't afford it. Like, we want you to at least be able to get it. So and educators, if you want to check it out before you recommend it to students, you can get that for free. So
right.
Just shoot us a message and my assistant will hook you up.
Awesome. That's great to know. Folks, all those links are down below in the description to all of Christopher Bill's various online presences. Couple quick questions here. Marissa Vacan says, thank you for doing this and giving us something to do. So that's to both of us.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And there was one more. Let's see. Alina Goff wants to know, or says, my sister wants to know if you, Christopher Bill, can play the saxophone.
I have never played the saxophone. I've never even tried.
Well, we could hook up a lesson sometime.
Yeah, I would say unlikely that I can just pick it up and play.
Right.
I don't know that I could make a sound, to be honest with you, on a reed instrument.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Well,
we'll
the key is, okay, the key is, if you ever get your hands on one, you got to get the bottom lip. You're doing it right now. Perfect.
Okay.
Bottom lip, top teeth. That's the secret. That's where a lot of people go wrong. But that would be interesting. I would love to see you try saxophone one of these days.
Hey, I'm down. That would be fun.
So we're going to wrap up, and I want to say thank you so much, Christopher, for being here. It was really awesome. I want everyone who watches my channel, who's watching right now, to make sure they go out and subscribe if they haven't already. They definitely should have. And what's the next big thing we should be looking for from you? What do you got in the hopper?
So I've been working on it for way too long, but a video game medley. So I've been doing these over the years for kind of subscriber milestones. They're some of my bigger videos. It's the Video Game Symphony number 5. I've been arranging for
awesome,
way too long, but that's probably the biggest thing that's coming up. Always new collaborations and things. These editing videos have kind of gotten me a little bit bogged down, but the good part about it is they might not be on my channel, but there will be all of these virtual choirs and virtual bands videos out there that I've edited that I can share with folks after they release them, and I think they'll be pretty cool. I did one for the Chicago Civic Orchestra a couple weeks ago. For their 100th anniversary, they did Tchaikovsky Fives, like fourth movement.
Uh-huh.
And so I edited together, 60, 70 musicians for that. And so stuff like that might not be on my channel, but it's certainly my work that's out there for folks to check out. So I always share those on like the community tab on YouTube and stuff when they come out. So
awesome.
Make sure you subscribe for that and you'll see all those as well.
Fantastic. Well, everyone in the chat, make sure you give a big thank you to Christopher for being with us today. Go to his channel and subscribe and all that. And thank you to Joe and Terry in the chat who have been helping us out. And thank you to Dennis, as always, who's on our line. We didn't take any live questions from Dennis today, but we thank you for being here. And Christopher, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. One thing I didn't bring up is the one collab video we did a couple years ago. Maybe I'll repost that on my social media, but that was a lot of fun. So next time you're in town, it would be great next time you're in town and we don't have to stay 10 feet away from each other, it would be great to do another thing together. So
yeah, absolutely. When we're allowed, let's do it.
All right. Well, Christopher, thank you so much. Everyone wave goodbye to Christopher. And guys, tomorrow I'll be back on with my jazz live stream. Very excited. We're going to have another special guest, Terrell Stafford, for our jazz live stream tomorrow at 3:00. So thank you very much, everybody. One more bye-bye to Christopher, and everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.